Welcome to G Fun Facts Online. Today we are stripping away the water to uncover a secret that changes everything we thought we knew about the Stone Age. When we look at the Baltic Sea today, we see a busy maritime highway, a graveyard of 20th century ships, and a repository of modern history. But if you were to peel back the layers of silt and look past the rusting hulks of the world wars, you would find something that simply should not be there. It is a structure that predates the pyramids, the written word, and the very existence of the Baltic Sea itself. It is called the Blinkerwall. To understand the magnitude of this discovery, we have to go back to the autumn of 2021. This was not a discovery born from a high-stakes treasure hunt or a blockbuster archaeological expedition. It happened, as science often does, by accident. Jacob Geerson, a marine geophysicist from the Leibniz Institute for Baltic Sea Research, was aboard the research vessel Alcor. He wasn't looking for lost civilizations. He was teaching a class. He was showing students the often tedious technical art of seafloor mapping using multi-beam sonar in the Bay of Mecklenburg, off the coast of Germany. This is a well-trafficked area, presumed to be geologically boring, but as the Alcor trawled back and forth, painting the seabed with sound waves, the monitor showed an anomaly. Nature, as geologists like to say, rarely builds in straight lines. Glaciers are messy, they leave scattered piles of rock, but on the screen, running along a submerged ridge, was a distinct, continuous linear structure stretching for nearly a kilometer. It looked like a line of pearls strung across the twilight of the seafloor. This was the first glimpse of the Blinkerwall. Over the next year, the team returned with autonomous underwater vehicles and human divers to ground truth what they were seeing on the sonar. What they found in the gloom, 21 meters beneath the surface, was a masterpiece of prehistoric engineering. The Blinkerwall runs for exactly 971 meters, which is nearly 2/3 of a mile. It is not a random collection of glacial debris. It is composed of 1,673 individual stones. The layout is incredibly methodical. The builders used roughly 300 large boulders, which were likely already sitting there as glacial erratics, to act as heavy anchor points. Then, they meticulously gathered and piled over 1,400 smaller stones to connect these large boulders, forming a continuous, unbroken barrier. The total weight of the stones moved to create this structure is estimated at over 142 tons. This discovery instantly ruled out modern explanations. It wasn't a World War II anti-submarine net, and it wasn't debris from a cable-laying operation. This was a hunting architecture, built by human hands at a time when the seabed was dry land. To really grasp the significance of this, we have to turn the clock back 11,000 years. We have to erase the sea. In the transition between the Paleolithic and the Mesolithic eras, the geography of Europe was radically different. The massive ice sheets were retreating, and global sea levels were significantly lower. The Bay of Mecklenburg was not a bay at all. It was a sweeping, low-lying green valley. It was a tundra environment, dotted with birch and pine forests, likely home to large freshwater lakes. The Blinkerwall was built on the flank of a ridge, running parallel to the shoreline of one of these ancient lakes. This location was chosen with absolute strategic brilliance. This brings us to the builders. These were likely members of the Ahrensburg culture, the reindeer people. We need to stop thinking of these Stone Age hunter-gatherers as primitive cavemen. They were anatomically modern humans, just as intelligent and capable as you or I. They were expert navigators and master craftsmen, and, as the Blinkerwall proves, they were landscape architects. But why build a kilometer-long wall of stone in the middle of a valley? The answer lies in the psychology of their prey, the Eurasian reindeer. Reindeer are creatures of habit. They migrate in huge herds, following lines in the landscape like rivers or ridges. They also react predictably to obstacles. When a reindeer herd encounters a linear barrier, even a low one, they don't usually jump over it. Instead, they flow alongside it, like water taking the path of least resistance. The Blinkerwall was a drive lane. Imagine the scene during the autumn migration. The hunters knew the reindeer were moving through the valley. The wall was positioned to intercept the herd. It wasn't a fortress meant to keep them out, it was a funnel meant to guide them. The wall ran parallel to the lake, creating a corridor that got narrower and narrower. As the reindeer moved along the wall, they were squeezed between the stones and the water, channeled directly into a kill zone. This suggests a level of social organization that rewrites the history books. Building a structure like this required moving 140 tons of rock. A single family couldn't do that. It required the cooperation of large groups, perhaps hundreds of people, coming together to build, maintain, and operate this massive trap. It implies they had a concept of territory, of future planning, and of engineering their environment to ensure their survival. We see similar structures in other parts of the world, like the desert kites in the Middle East used for gazelles, or the caribou drive lanes in North America. But the Blinkerwall is unique in Europe. It is the oldest megastructure of its kind ever found on the continent. So, where did it go? Why is it underwater? The end of the Blinkerwall came with the end of the Ice Age. The climate warming that made the region habitable eventually doomed it. Around 8,500 years ago, a geological event known as the Littorina transgression occurred. The sea rose, flooding the freshwater lakes and drowning the valleys. The Blinkerwall was submerged. Ironically, this catastrophe is the only reason the wall still exists today. If it had remained on dry land, the stones would have been scattered by farmers or used for building houses thousands of years ago. But the sea acted as a preservative. The rising waters covered the wall in a protective blanket of low-oxygen sediment. For 8,500 years, it sat in the cold, dark silence, perfectly preserved, waiting for Jacob Gearson's sonar to pass overhead. The discovery of the Blinkerwall is likely just the beginning. If hundreds of people gathered here to hunt, they must have camped nearby. Somewhere in the mud around the wall are the remains of their lives. Flint tools, charcoal from their fires, perhaps even the bones of the reindeer they processed. Researchers are now planning to use sub-bottom profilers to look through the sediment for these buried campsites. They are also searching for a potential second wall, which would confirm the theory that this was a V-shaped funnel trap. This discovery is a handshake across 10,000 years. It reminds us that the history of human ingenuity goes deeper than we often realize. 11,000 years ago, people stood on a windy ridge in northern Europe and built a machine made of stone to ensure the survival of their children. They couldn't have known that the sea would swallow their world, or that 10 millennia later, we would find it using sound waves. The Blinkerwall stands as a silent testament to their resilience, a permanent mark on a landscape that has long since vanished beneath the waves. Thanks for listening to G Fun Facts Online, and we will see you in the next deep dive.